Tales unknown.
The air was still when they pulled into the small clearing, the lake stretching out before them like a sheet of glass. Pines leaned close to the shore, their reflections rippling as if whispering secrets to the water. "Perfect spot," Jake said, turning off the engine. Mara nodded, stepping out into the cool dusk. The scent of pine and smoke lingered faintly, though no one else was around. She liked that, the quiet, the privacy. This was supposed to be their reset, a weekend away from deadlines, arguments, and the slow drift that had crept into their marriage. They unpacked in silence. Tent poles clinked, zippers rasped. By the time the fire crackled to life, night had swallowed the lake in a deep velvet hush. Jake poked the flames with a stick. "You hear that?" "Hear what?" Sounded like a laugh. A kid, maybe. Mara listened. Only the gentle slap of water and the distant hum of frogs. Probably an echo from across the lake. But there were no other campers. They checked, the ranger station map showed the nearest site a mile away. She brushed it off and reached for the marshmallows. Morning came soft and gray. Mist hovered over the water, a thin ghost rising from the surface. Jake was still asleep when Mara stepped out of the tent. That's when she noticed it. A small pile of stones had been arranged at the edge of the fire pit. Perfectly balanced, stacked 3 high, smallest on top. She crouched down. They weren't there last night. "Jake," she called quietly. He squinted into the light, hair sticking up. "What's wrong?" She pointed. "Probably raccoons," he said with a yawn. "Raccoons don't stack rocks." He smiled at her tone. "Maybe it's forest art." "Come on, you're spooking yourself." Still, when they came back from a walk later that afternoon, one of Jake's boots was missing. They searched the whole campsite. "I left them right by the fire," he muttered, pacing. Mara felt the unease rising again. The air seemed heavier, the lake quieter. As the sun began to dip, she spotted the missing boot, sitting neatly on a large rock down by the water's edge. It was upright, perfectly placed, as though waiting. Jake frowned. "Okay, now that's weird." He picked it up. It was dry. That night, the wind changed. It came softly through the trees, carrying faint whispers, too rhythmic to be branches rubbing. Mara couldn't sleep. She turned to Jake. "Do you hear that?" He stirred. It sounds like humming." They both listened. A child's hum, tuneless but gentle, drifting from near the lake. Jake grabbed the flashlight and unzipped the tent. "Jake, wait," Mara whispered. He stepped outside. The beam cut through fog and darkness. Nothing. Only rippling water and reeds swaying. Then, a splash. Small, quick, like a pebble dropped by a hand too small for stones. Jake swung the light toward it. The circle of light caught something pale on the shore, for just a heartbeat. A small figure crouched beside the water, hair hanging wet and long. Then it was gone. He froze. "Did you see that?" Mara hissed. He didn't answer. They backed into the tent, zipped it shut, and sat awake until the light began to change. By morning, their cooler was open. Food gone. And by the fire pit, someone had left something new. A child's shoe, tiny, muddy, with the sole half torn off. Mara's hands trembled as she picked it up. "Jake, this is old. Look at it." The leather was cracked, faded, like it had been underwater for years. Jake exhaled shakily. "We're leaving." They packed fast. But as Mara loaded the car, she turned toward the lake one last time. A reflection moved where there should have been none. A girl, maybe 8 or 9, standing knee-deep in the shallows. Her white dress floated on the water like mist. She didn't move, didn't blink. Mara's breath caught. The girl lifted her hand and pointed at the campsite. At Mara. Mara stumbled back. "Jake," she whispered. "She's..." When she turned again, the girl was gone. Only the ripples remained. The road out twisted through miles of pines. Neither spoke until the lake was a fading glint through the trees. Finally, Jake said, "You think she was real?" Mara stared at her hands. They were shaking. "I don't know." That night, after they got home, she unpacked her bag. Her stomach dropped. Inside her pocket was something she hadn't put there, a small, smooth stone, perfectly round, cool to the touch. Drawn in dirt across one side was a single shaky line. A smile. 2 weeks later, the ranger called. Jake had filed a report, just in case someone had been sneaking around. The ranger's voice was calm but low. "You said you were at Site 12 by the lake, right?" "Yeah," Jake said. "Thought you should know. About 15 years ago, a family drowned there. Storm rolled in fast. Parents made it. The little girl didn't." Mara's skin prickled. The ranger hesitated before adding, "They never found her body. Folks still leave flowers sometimes. Stones too, she liked stacking them." Mara looked out the window. On the sill sat the stone she'd found. She hadn't been able to throw it away. It caught a beam of light, glowing softly. Outside, the wind rose again. For a moment, she thought she heard humming.